All right, what's up, you guys? We have a very special guest today. First of all, thanks for joining the Mac and Zach show again, as usual, every Saturday. We love you so much. But we have a very special guest, Logan Laveau, here with us today. Hi, Logan. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. Happy to be here. Got my ring light. We're good.
Oh yeah, they tried using that on us once to make us look a little better. Well, Mac's fine. I'm the one that needs a little bit of extra looks.
You guys look
Um,
good.
then they like the ring light flashed one day, and I'm epileptic, so it's like can't do that anymore.
No. Oh.
That was a bad day. Like if you look back in a few episodes ago, it's just like, why is that kind of like doing one of these?
Yeah, it's like,
Oh no.
get one down. This is a bad idea.
So, ooh, derailed already.
Hmm?
Derailed already with So tell us a little about yourself, Logan. What do you do? Where do you live? If you're comfortable revealing that, like, what's your jam?
Yeah. So I'm a burlesque performer mostly. I live in New York City. And in addition to that, I am a costume maker and an illustrator and a little bit of everything else. In addition to recently DMing.
There we go. So what kind of got your the fire lit under you for DMing? Like what is your origin story? Tell me your origin story for DMing.
Well, originally the first campaign kind of that I ever did, it was just a one shot, just like a few hours long, but it was for my partner's birthday, who has been DMing for our little group for years and never gets to play a character himself ever. So I was like, okay, for you, I will do this. And I was so nervous, but I mean, whatever, you just make the whole thing up. So, once I kind of figured that out, I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. I get why people do this. But yeah, definitely after that first one, I was like, all right. The soup is cooking.
I'm in a similar situation, always a DM. I never really get to play in too many games.
Yeah.
That is
tragic.
Like I can definitely understand. That's awesome that you did that for him, because that is something that a lot of us here, like Mac too. Mac that never gets to play either, always a DM, and
so sad.
Such a value thing. No, that's awesome. So how long have you been DMing? Is it a year, 2 years, 25 years?
That was a little over a year ago.
Okay.
So I think at this point it's been like, a little over a year.
Okay. And over the past years, how many campaigns have you run, you think?
Just two. Well, okay. So I have the one shot that I started with, but then during pandemic, I started doing another weekly one, not really knowing that it was going to be a weekly one at the beginning. I kind of had the idea of just doing another one shot, but then it ended up going on forever. And now it's like 5 different chapters of a campaign. So kind of 1.5, I guess.
Okay.
I'm just not really sure where it's going to end or if it is ever going to end.
It doesn't ever need it. You just go. No,
it's at the point now where things are kind of like, oh, I can like make these things make sense together that we did like months ago and seem really smart.
Everything is calculated. At least
right. That's what they gotta think.
So have you found that the group that you're role playing with, are these people who have always played Dungeons and Dragons, or is it something that's been kind of like a rediscovered thing from the pandemic? Because that's what we're finding. We're having a lot of people, I'm telling you, it's everyone's kind of rediscovering their hobbies for us over here. That has been a very, very big thing this past year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had been playing pretty regularly before, but I'm definitely playing twice as much now. Because a lot of these people, like, I'm not going to talk to otherwise. So it's great. But yeah, the group that I'm in, there's 5 players pretty regularly. And it's a mix, my partner is one of my players, and he's, been playing for years. But most of the other ones are maybe, have like a little bit of experience, but like not a lot. And one of them is completely new. But it's fun because like when you have a player that's completely new at it, like sometimes they have really good questions that like other people don't.
New insight, new point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Or like why don't things work that way? Good question.
And so out of a personal question, so do you go for the rule of cool or the rules as written?
Rule of cool. I hate rules, honestly. Like I will
for suggestions.
Yeah. Just because me personally, my memory is not so good. So like having to remember all of these crazy things for every like encounter, every battle, I'm like, like if it seems to make sense in theoretical physics kind of way, then like, why not? Roll for it.
Oh yeah, no, I have whenever I do a session, there's like pages of notes written out that's just like, this is what you do here, please remember this, don't forget this is how this interaction works when they mention this, etc., etc. Like the list goes on, because I will forget everything. And
Yeah.
I'm not a horrible improviser, but I'm a horrible liar. So it's like, he's making this up, we know it.
I gotta say, like the whole like improvising / lying is a lot easier when you're not actually like looking at people's faces.
You hide behind the screen. It's just like,
Right. Well, we're just doing it through Discord, like through audio, so we're not looking at each other necessarily.
Yeah, I always forget that. Like I haven't funny enough, I've done the opposite this year. I haven't DM'd a game up until recently this entire year, just because me and Mac have been working at the shop, just kind of doing our thing, and I've been in school, so it's just busy schedule.
Right.
This is our not for me, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Struggle. So, this is a question, and it might not be relevant, but just your point of view is something I value on this. Because you play with a relatively small group, but gatekeeping is in my opinion, a huge problem in our hobby, in our communities, things like that. Now, you being a burlesque dancer, have you encountered anything like that, like more towards anybody being inappropriate or anything like that? How have you handled gatekeeping in your time as a DM? If you've had that issue, hopefully not, but one of those things I got to ask.
Right. Thankfully, I haven't had that issue yet. I mean, the people that I talk to on the regular about D&D are like generally not dicks. So, I mean, I'm sure those people are out there, but I have been very lucky to avoid them.
Oh yeah, no, that's excellent. I'm really glad to hear that, just because in a retail setting, we get people from all walks of life, and there have been people over the years who I've met who are, and even like have been to me, someone who has tried to lock me out of a hobby, not necessarily at this store, but just other stores I've been at. The people we get are, with the exception of Mac, pretty decent. And even just speak at them, that's good. But no, it's one of my prides in life to make this guy like cry, laugh until he cries, or cry until he laughs. Either one really. So no, I'm glad to hear that you haven't had any issues with that. And so, which kind of segues to the next question: would you, if given the opportunity, do this as in a professional setting? Would this be something you can find yourself doing during the pandemic as a source of income, or is this something that you think you would take the pleasure of?
Well, it's hard to say because, I mean, really, I have been trying to do whatever I can to make money in the pandemic. So, like, if someone's offering me money to do something, I'm hard pressed to say no. Yeah. But I would kind of like question why they would ask me, because like I said before, my memory's not great. So like while I run a fun game, it's not like, if someone's going to be like recording the game for like ever and ever and ever and following along, it's probably gonna sound pretty janky if you like actually connect the dots.
Is how often some people love things that are janky.
Well, in that case, someone pay me.
Culture can be described as janky. Everything is goofy. It's fun loving. It's nothing that's meant to take itself too seriously. So
right,
you'd be surprised how much of an audience there is for that kind of stuff.
I have like the highest blessing of all, which is one of my players is like, she's actually been like my best friend since we were, I don't know, 10. And she's like a Harvard graduate and super smart. And also the best note taker I have ever met in my entire life. Her notes are like a novel. Like every session we have, she has like these like 6 pages of like beautifully typed, like, quotes from people and like, what everybody got. And like,
until we hear the minutes from last game.
Right. I was like,
awesome.
I could not pay someone enough to do this.
Better tell her that people will pay her to do that.
I know.
Professional game. What would that be? It's not a moderator, but I guess observer. Just keep
right.
record.
Like the stenographer.
They're
in the
perfect.
back.
There we go. That's perfect. The way to.
And like she still manages to like role play and be engaged at the same time. I'm like, I can barely type a sentence while thinking about the sentence. Like my notes for my games before I play them are like 3 lines, like this person here, this person here, this person mad. It works out.
This is the way. Sorry. You're all right, buddy. Give this man a glass of water. I'm not kidding.
Ooh, rough. Rough.
But,
tough love.
So something we try to ask all of our guests is, and it kind of works into something me and Mac always say at some point, gaming saved our life. How has gaming enriched your life through the pandemic? Has it been something just to occupy the time? Has it been anything like, for me personally, I paint quite a bit, and I play a lot of different games, of course, and I also through my life I've suffered with depression and things like that. Of course I see a psychiatrist and things like that. A lot of times that goes hand in hand with epilepsy, and so gaming in several ways has saved my life. And I think I can speak for Mac when I say same for him. Not necessarily the depression stuff, just the gaming has saved his life. So how has gaming affected you? What has it done for you?
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree that it is very good medicine for the brain. I mean, like, especially during the pandemic, because, like I said earlier, I'm not seeing these people in meet space. So, like just being able to connect and like forge like not only a meaningful relationship like with your friend, but also like with their character, or like, like with each other's characters, and like you're kind of getting 2 social bonuses in one. It's great. It like, it makes me tear up a little bit, because I'm kind of like, D&D is so important for just like teaching empathy and like practicing, just being a person. And like the fact that it's in a fantasy world is kind of irrelevant, because it's all, it's all just people.
Yeah, you're still people making real
decisions.
Even if those decisions are whether to hide or fight the dragon.
Right. And like
it requires social skills. Like it's just, it kind of taught me how to. I mean, when I was a kid, I was painfully shy, like hide behind my mom's leg, kind of shy. So it kind of helped me, also being forced into working retail, helped me come out of my shell quite a bit.
Oh God, retail. You need all the help you can get.
I've been in retail management for 9 years now.
Wow.
I'm 26. So it's just like, I kind of got plunged into that, and I'm like, all right, no more being shy. Deal with it.
Right. Yeah.
D&D was the healthier side of that, as opposed to people screaming at you.
Right.
Luckily, people.
I mean, for me, it's like people like assume that I'm super, super extroverted because, like, as a burlesque performer, you know, I'm literally getting naked on stage in front of however many people.
Yeah.
But like,
like, you know, like, yeah.
yeah, like you would think, and like I am to a certain extent, but at the same time, like I don't really get the kind of interactions with people that I do when I'm playing D&D, because like, you know, I don't really like to go out much, like when I'm not performing. Well, especially not this year doesn't count, obviously. But yeah, like you know, I don't tend to go out much because I like, you know, I get my social fill and then I just stay at home. So like it's really nice to be able to like have that instead of, you know, being pressured to like go out and be like, you know, in a bar or something. Spending all your money and like yelling at each other.
The bar and like club life was never for me. I've never been to a what would be referred to as a club in my life.
Honestly, you are not missing much anymore. They are, well, yeah, like even before all this, it's just loud and expensive.
My sister, who's a bit older than me, she would always go out, you know, once she turned like 18, 20 around there, and I was like, you know, still 16, and she would always go out, you know, and have such a good time, and I was always like, I don't want to do that. But, Xbox, let's do that.
Yeah, I was the same way. I was one of those kids in high school. It's like, I don't have to go to a party and like drink to have a good time. I can just sit at home and play Resident Evil with my friend.
That is super cool. And that is a really cool insight that, you know, being someone who is a burlesque dancer, you don't like, you're not automatically like living your life for the spotlight, even though the spotlight is very much on you at your work. That's a really cool.
And right now.
Perspective. And right now, the ring light.
But yeah, I mean, like as much as I enjoy the spotlight, because like I wouldn't do it if I didn't. You know, you can't be like on all the time. Right. A lot of people expect performers to be like that person their whole life, and it's like that's exhausting. That's so much makeup. The lashes, it's too much all the time.
With you playing D&D and stuff now, do you have any aspirations for doing some type of cosplay? Because you are a costume maker, also based off of any of the characters that are in your game.
It's so funny that you said that, because I actually, so the one professional D&D session that I've done was I did a like table play. It was like filmed for Dwarven Forge. It was a couple years ago, but it was super fun. And you know, we all dressed up as our characters, and I like had like these demon horns, so I played this tiefling, and like it was all very like purple and all this stuff. And then like I've kind of just like had this demon character that I use for burlesque kind of like all the time since then. Actually, this shirt is like a shirt that I designed for this show called Tasselmania. That's like a wrestling burlesque show. So yeah, like I've kind of just been doing like, you know, a tiefling, like basically like in my burlesque for the last couple of years.
That is awesome. Excuse me. Sorry. Anyway.
Choke on that mask.
I know.
Oh yeah. No, I just saw you breathe it in, like it almost like went.
Oh, I feel for you. Just breathing it all back in.
You ever yawn and like if you're wearing like a mask that's like lightweight, it'll like go in your mouth and like cover your mouth. I had one like that. I'm like, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah, but it's better than spreading cooties to everyone else here. So
No.
good.
Just get a new mask. get a heavier mask. If it's that thin anyway, you shouldn't be wearing it.
But yeah, Logan, we want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this. Is there anything that you personally might be working on that you can let our guests know about, or maybe ways that our guests could follow you, social media wise, or anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. I am on Instagram and Twitter, and pretty much any other thing that you can find me on. It's always Logan Laveau, Laveeau, at Logan Laveau. I've also got a fan site if you guys ever want to check that out. It's a little bit more risque, but burlesque and all that. But yeah, you can check out my website, see examples of my videos and costuming and things. I also do illustrations. If anyone ever needs a D&D character drawn, I have examples of my art on my website too.
Okay, so you do character commissions. That's really cool.
Yeah.
No, that is really cool.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of them, and I mean, D&D characters are always the most fun to draw. So
hopefully, like all of our guests will be like, "Oh my God, did someone say character commission?"
I feel like we should ask.
I feel like we should live with that.
Logan, she can draw a commission of us.
Oh no,
one where Zach.
I don't want to be on paper. I barely want to be in a picture.
Todd, and you like a little guy sweeping up in the corner like Mr. Miyagi. I love him.
Love him?
Excellent.
Do you love him or do you want to be him?
Both.
Both. Okay.
I'm actually going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's was that if you love your son? You want to be him and you want to love him.
I don't. Okay, whatever. Yeah, he teaches life lessons.
He teaches life lessons.
The life lessons. Man has
via sweeping up underneath me as a Roman god or a Greek god.
What up? Watch out.
I can draw anything.
That is the attitude. I can draw it. I can't draw anything. I can't draw that.
I technically went to school for it, but here
yeah.
I am not being an illustrator.
I don't know. I feel like you use that word technically. I feel like we could probably take that word out of that sentence and it still works. I went to school for that.
I do have an illustration BFA.
Didn't technically go. You did it. You put the work in and you did it.
I forget that I did it because I don't really, I'm a burlesque performer now. I don't really know how we got there, but here we are.
You did it, and that kind of commitment to finish any kind of learning curriculum of any kind, it's something to be proud of, definitely.
It wasn't easy.
The first time I went to school, I dropped out. I'm back in school now, but I mean, I'm taking it slow just because I gotta pay rent.
Yeah.
Oh, can't be in school all the time.
Ooh, and rent is not cheap. Well, it's a lot cheaper in New Orleans, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. My apartment is approximately, I don't know if you can really get a good feel for this, but like behind the counter, it's about what is it, like 10 feet by 8 feet? That's my apartment. Yeah.
Solid.
That's where I live.
I mean, that's also the size of apartments in New York, except you have a window. They don't.
I mean, I have no, but I blocked because I have too much stuff.
But once again, Logan, we want to say thank you for being on the Zach and Max show. We really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was fun. I always love talking about nerd stuff.
Awesome.